Hey there friends, this is Carrie with Any Day Blessings, and on this channel I try to share all things homeschool, whether it be our curriculum picks, how we use it, flip-throughs, lesson planning, organization, day in the life lessons, all that. If that interests you, I would love for you to consider sticking around and subscribing. Also, go ahead and give this a thumbs up so that I know that this is the content that you come here to see. I actually do pay attention to the videos that get the most likes, so I know what content to create next. When you subscribe, by the way, that helps my videos come up in the searches for homeschool related content. So if you think that other homeschool moms would be blessed by this, please consider subscribing, because I don't pretend to understand YouTube, but from what I hear, that's how it works. If a channel has enough subscribers and the videos get likes, then YouTube shows those first when people search for things. So I just want to reach as many homeschool moms as I can and be a help, because I think a lot of the things that I have found out the hard way, a lot of other moms are going through too, and I would like to maybe save them a little bit of time and effort if I could. So please consider subscribing and give this a thumbs up. Today I am doing the third in a series of curriculum buying guide videos, and what those are basically are just my tips and tricks for what to buy and when to buy from certain publishers. Now, I know 4 publishers pretty well. I know BGU Press, Memoria Press, Knotgrass, and Master Books pretty well. I know their sales cycles, I know their coupon codes that typically come out, their free shipping events. I know the ins and outs of what to buy from their different packages pretty well. We're entering our 6th year of homeschool, and so I feel that I can share this style of a video with you now because I've got that consistent experience with those companies. So today is going to be all about Memoria Press. I've got the catalog here because this is going to be a huge part of my tips and tricks for you, is getting the catalog. So we're going to talk about Memoria Press here. If you are considering buying from Memoria Press, I would encourage you to use the link in the description below. It is an affiliate link, but it doesn't cost you any more to use that. All it does is let Memoria Press know that I sent you to them, and in turn I get a small commission from your purchase. What I do with that commission is just buy more homeschool material to show you, or buy things to give away during my subscriber giveaways. So that's what that's about, okay? All right, so let's get to some details here. First of all, I want to share with you, before I get into my tips on what to buy and when to buy, I want to give you just a little 30 to 60 second disclaimer about Memoria Press, because I've been asked about this and I've discussed this privately with some of you. I love, love, love Memoria Press for the early learning years, like preschool, the 2nd, 3rd-ish grade, somewhere in there. I think they do a fantastic job of giving richness with simplicity. Their materials are simple, they're not super flashy and lots of different colors and whatnot with it, but they are effective and engaging and simple to implement in the home, and I love them. We have had a delightful time using them for the last 2 years with my daughter. We're looking forward to kindergarten, and I have actually purchased several literature guides to use with my rising 4th grade son. But past those early learning years, you probably won't see a whole lot of Memoria Press on this channel. And the simple reason for that is that I personally love having the support of a curriculum that's based on a biblical worldview. I love that added support, because even though I can explain and have good conversations with my children and share with them how we can see God in all of these different areas, I like that extra help of having a curriculum that walks through that with us. And even though Memoria Press is labeled as a Christian classical homeschool company, I believe that my personal opinion or evaluation of that of the Christian component in their description is that it seems sort of like a tack on and not the foundation of what they do. In addition, the stuff that they do share tends to line up more with the Roman Catholic Church than our own personal beliefs based on God's Word alone. So I personally don't find it to be as helpful of a resource in the mid-elementary, middle schoolish, and up range. I find other companies to be more helpful to me in giving my children a biblical worldview curriculum. But that's not to say that we won't have little things like art or music or literature from time to time from Memoria Press in those upper years. It just won't be the bulk of our curriculum purchases once we get out of the early elementary phase. So I wanted to just describe that to you real quick and let you know what I mean when I constantly say I love Memoria Press for early learning. That's what I mean, and that's why I say it. I want to be very intentional with my recommendations to you so that you understand what I'm saying and what I mean by certain terms. And so I wanted to take a minute here real quick and just lay that out before you, okay? So having said that, I do love them for early learning, and I love how simple it is to make it your own. I feel it's very customizable. They are written for a classroom setting. Their materials are put together for the Highlands School, and I feel that there's a lot of components, well, maybe not a lot, but there are definitely some components that you can leave out if you're looking to save some money. And I'm going to go through all that with you now in my tips on what to buy. Then I'm going to let you know when to buy, okay? So first of all, what to buy. I think step one is getting the hard copy catalog. Now there are two. There is the Classical Teacher, which is the traditional course, and then there is the Simply Classical Journal, which shows you all of the Simply Classical material, and that is special learning considerations and things like that, special needs, and it typically is about let me say this. Simply Classical 2 would be comparable to the traditional Core 1, Grade 1. They'd be comparable. They're not the exact same, but it would be comparable in skill level. So for example, if you have a child who's not quite up to the traditional Core 2, Grade 2 level, try out Simply Classical 2 and see if that's a better fit for you. If you have a child who's, did I say that right? I think I said that backwards. Simply Classical 3 would be, no, okay, I said that backwards. So if you have a child who's not quite to Simply, let me stop and think. I'm all turned around. Let me just look in the book. Simply Classical 1 is like kindergarten of the main core. Let me just open this up here real quick. Wait, this is Simply Classical. Yes. Okay. So Simply Classical 1, I would say, compares to the kindergarten in the traditional core. So if your child isn't quite ready for kindergarten, I would try Simply Classical 1. Yes, that's what I mean to say. Okay. You could also try Simply Classical Level C, okay, because that does have some kindergarten feelish to it, but I feel that don't worry about the level numbers. This isn't really like Grade 1. It's when they bring it down to Simply Classical level, they take out a few of the extra components. They really boil it down to fewer things. I think that's what makes it a little more simple. But then they also do have some resources and teaching tips for special needs. So I'm not saying that this has to be at the kindergarten level. I'm just saying that personally I feel that it most closely lines up to that. And the Simply Level 2 most closely lines up to Core 1 in the traditional guide. That's just my personal opinion, but that's not when you can use them whenever you want, but that's just, Anyway, let's move on from that because I've confused myself. I hope I haven't confused you. All right, so what to buy? I think first step, you should get the guide, the catalog here, because in the catalog, you will see things that aren't so readily apparent that they offer online. So here, if you look here in the Read Aloud programs, you see all the different Read Aloud programs they offer. It says here, For a complete list of books in each set, visit memoriapress.com. Okay, well, you can see the read aloud books online. But what you don't know is that in 3rd grade, there's a read aloud picture book package. It's not real apparent on their website that they offer that. But if your child isn't ready yet for chapter books to read aloud in 3rd grade, which my son was not as yet, we've worked our way there now, but at the start of the 3rd grade year, he just did not want me to read chapter books. He still was enjoying picture books. And so I was delighted in this catalog to see that they do, in fact, have picture book suggestions for 3rd grade. But if I would have just gone by the website, I wouldn't have known that. Also in the catalog, I was able to see that they had some easy reader classics. This is kind of after it goes over all the different packages that are available, all the different grade level packages. This is kind of like in the back of the catalog. These things here, like the extra a la carte items, those easy reader classics. I thought those were a fun little find. But then also, if you are doing the literature guides, okay, so here's where the literature guides are, and it goes by grade, okay. Say you are doing grade 4, which is the Cricket in Times Square, Homer Price, the Blue Fairy Book, and Dangerous Journey. Now this year we're doing the Dangerous Journey, but we've already done Cricket Square, and I don't think my son wants to do the Blue Fairy Book. Do you want to read about fairies?
No.
Okay, no.
No.
Okay, so he doesn't want to read about fairies. And so I was delighted in the catalog. Now see, again, this is not very apparent on the website, but in the catalog they have these alternate literature options, and there's a whole bunch of them. And so I went up here through to look at the grade 3 to grade 7 suggestions, and it said the Moffats. And so I saw that there, and I thought, well, we can just sub that in, because I read that if you like the littles, which he does, then try the Moffats. So we are going to try that. I would suggest that you look all the way through this, because there's some a la carte items that are throughout the different sections of the catalog, interspersed with articles. So read that whole thing. Can you go play? I'm afraid I'm getting distracted. Not gonna be able to tell my friends anything helpful. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay. See, I'm already distracted. I lost my train of thought here. He's been in the background this whole video, you guys. So I'm sorry. I'm like losing my train of thought because I'm like waiting for him to like erupt and make make noise, and so I'm sorry if this has been a little scattered. So yes, read through this. Look at the a la carte items, because you can actually switch things out and get there's different options than just what's in the course. Similarly, in this Simply Classical, if you go back here after the passages or the packages, there's like a little a la carte section back here too, where it shows you the thankfulness journals, the nature journal, myself and others curriculum. So you can purchase things a la carte that aren't in the packages themselves, and I would use that as my number 1 tip. I would just get the catalog from Memoria Press. The second reason you want to get the catalog is because there's a coupon in every catalog. In this little lift up page, right on the inside of that is a coupon code. So you'll want to get the hard copy to get that coupon. My second tip on what to buy from Memoria Press is not only do you want to look at the catalog and look at those a la carte items, because some of those are going to be better options for you, I would suggest only getting the teacher guides for the literature in the early years, okay? Now, once you get to 5th or 6th grade, and you might want your child to have their own student book to write the answers. But if you watch videos and you read the front matter of those literature guides, the intent of the author was for the student and the parent, or the student and the teacher, to do that together orally, out loud, construct the answers together, work on forming good sentences, and then have the teacher actually write out the child's answer, and the student just copy it into their student workbook. It was never intended by the author of those literature guides to have your child sit down with a student workbook and answer questions about what they read in a story. That was never the intent of the program. It was meant to be done together, step by step, with the teacher, and it's meant to be done out loud. So I encourage you that if you haven't been doing it that way and running into some problems, maybe consider changing up how you do it. I did do a brief video, and if I remember, I will link it below. If somebody wants to remind me, if that link doesn't end up in the description, I will happily put it there. But I did do a video just showing you real simply how my son and I sit down and do a Memoria Press literature lesson. It was out of one of the second grade books, Animal Folktales, I think. So look for that down in the description below. But it's meant to be done together. It's not meant to be done apart from the teacher or parent in those early years. So I just purchased the teacher guide, and we do it orally from there. I don't see the need in having my son just do more copy work. We're trying to limit the writing in this house because my son is a very reluctant writer, and so we're working on forming those complete sentences, and sometimes I will scribe it out on my whiteboard and have him correct any punctuation errors or things like that. But I don't purchase the student guides. We do all of the literature orally, and similarly, I plan to do the same with my daughter with the Storytime Treasures and the spelling. I don't plan to get the spelling student book. I plan to get the spelling supplemental book, because the supplemental book in the traditional spelling program at Memoria Press is all games and puzzles and fun things. And so I'm not looking for a bunch of extra copy work or a place to write out words. We have notebook paper for that. I'm looking for things that I can't readily create on my own, like a crossword puzzle or some sort of seek and find puzzle or something that helps them learn word sounds and spelling words and stuff like that. So I'm not looking to get a whole lot of student books from Memoria Press, because after reading the intent of their literature program, it's meant to be done out loud anyway. So that would be a tip on what to buy. See if you really need those student books. See if you need those copy workbooks. They're just books with lines and a place for them to draw a picture. See if you need the summer reading guides, because as I understand it, there's just lists for them to keep track of what they've read. There's not actually a list of books in those books. It's just a place for them to keep track of what they've read. So see what you need. Look at videos, because there are quite a few components in the Memoria course that you could sub out with a whiteboard and do orally, which is what they recommend anyway, and a notebook. So that would be my tip for Memoria Press, what to buy. Now, when to buy. I believe that the best time to buy Memoria Press is February, and here's why. Typically, if you are a formal customer of Memoria Press, they send out a Christmas thank you $10 gift, and you get $10 off a purchase, no minimum spend. Well, it used to be no minimum spend. I think this year there was a minimum of $25. I can't remember. I feel like Christmas was so long ago. 2020 has just been so long. But I don't remember. But I think there was a minimum spend this year. But in years past, there hasn't been. So who knows what will happen this year, and even if they'll offer it. But it has been the pattern the last 3 or 4 years that I've used Memoria Press, that they've sent out a Christmas thank you in December. But that's usually had an expiration date around March. In February, they offer free shipping with no minimum purchase. And so you can buy a $5 thing and it'll ship for free. Now, it will take quite a while to get there. Their free shipping event, the shipping is quite a bit slower, but that's all right, because most of us aren't in need of new homeschool curriculum in February. That's kind of an odd time, so it's not really at the start of a homeschool year for many people. So we can wait a little longer for shipping. But they do that because they're trying to get a lot of orders in and taken care of before convention season starts and before the big shopping season starts. So a lot of times you will see curriculum providers offer sales in the January to March, even April window, because they're trying to get a lot of people's orders in and done before their busy season starts. So I would suggest using that $10 off coupon that they send you, or gift certificate at Christmas time. If you're a former customer, stack that with the free shipping in February, and that's going to be your best time to buy Memoria Press. I have seen them just this year. They haven't done this before that I've seen, but just this year they've had monthly special discount codes. They had buy 6 literature guides, get half off those, or not half off, 15% off those literature guides. They had a percentage off of their reading packs. They had another free shipping offer, but it had a minimum spend amount. So they don't typically have those coupon codes that they put out on their website. They don't typically do that, but they did start that this year. I just didn't feel like those were just on specific products, so I didn't feel that that personally made sense for me to buy at that time. I still think that February with stacking the $10 off plus the free shipping, which is normally about a $10 savings or so depending on how much you order, that's really the best time for me to buy Memoria Press. Memoria Press is one of the more affordable options, I think, so not having a percentage off sale, that's not really the end of the world because their materials are pretty affordable as is. So that's the best time to buy from Memoria Press, in my opinion. Those are the tips on the things that I would suggest that you buy: getting the catalog, looking at those teacher guides, seeing if you can do things with just the teacher guide and some notebook paper or a whiteboard. Those are my best tips for Memoria Press, you guys, and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider giving this a thumbs up and subscribing, and share. Feel free to share this with other homeschool moms that you know are interested in using Memoria Press. Again, I will leave the links below that I mentioned in this video. Consider using them, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.